Okay, oops, sorry, let me get
It's
that.
perfect timing, that alert,
Yeah, it
actually.
was, wasn't it? Okay, let's call to order.
Beckwith,
Here.
Cheng,
Here.
Farkapisi, absent, Kotsinis,
Here.
Linsdau,
Here.
Sutton,
Here.
ayes have it. I mean, we have a quorum.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Anyone want to speak in public comment? We have correspondence, right?
Yes, we do have a letter, thank you letter to the Board of Trustees from Eddie Kristen, WNPL Security Supervisor, for providing the financial support to finish his degree for Library and Information Science program at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. You have a letter.
Okay, so consent agenda, would someone like to move to, or anyone want to remove anything? Okay, would someone like to move to approve it?
I'm going to pass out the executive minutes here.
Oh,
for
yeah, thank
everybody
you for the
first.
reminder, yes. This was supposed to be in the packet, and we
And it-
got a little
it-
mixed up here, so
so
we're
just
going to
pass
pass
these
this
on
around,
down,
yeah.
please.
So
Okay.
let's everyone take a
And
look
just
at
take
it.
a look at it
Take where
before,
it's at, over
here we
here.
go.
And-
And then I don't,
Yeah.
Okay.
Need one?
thanks.
I'll just give you mine.
And then if you pass.
Oh, no,
it
this
on.
is exec session minutes, sorry. I
Yeah,
thought this was
it was
the audit.
Yeah, no, it's not,
Oh,
that's not the
that,
audit.
I've got that too.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Got them all?
Oh, not yet.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay. President's report, page 11. Questions, comments, concerns? Other people have reports? How was the celebration school?
Oh, it was good. It was good. We had more people than I thought we would. I mean, we had like,
What would you guess, 50 maybe? Maybe 40?
40.
I would
40
say
something.
40-ish,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's about what it was last time, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
more
a little
people
bit
than
less, but yeah,
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 but less bricks this time, so.
yeah. Cool.
How many bricks were put in this time? I
I don't have the exact number on me, but it
Okay.
was fewer, but still,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
not.
Anyone else?
No, it sounds like it was.
Okay, exec directors, page 15.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention a couple of things. We talked about the Celebration Square Phase 2 event on Saturday. It was great. We had 3 trustees there, Andrea, Bonnie, and Ann, and it was really nice. And people were glad they came. It was just the kind of the right, I think we struck the right tone with the event of being long enough, but not going too long, and recognizing its significance. So it was good. I was really happy with it. I have to give credit to all the people that helped run the event. Gina was there, Nancy Stricker, and Jan and Laura just did a phenomenal job of organizing. So they did a great job, as they always do. Summer reading program. Our goal, as the board will recall, 1 million minutes. We are well on our way. As of the end of week 6, we have 676,000 minutes plus.
700,000.
Yeah. Oh, is it 700,000 as of right now? Okay. See, I can't keep up. So we still have 4 weeks. So we are on pace to reach our goal early. So that would be nice. 2,300 people are signed up for summer reading. So we're excited, and it's been fun because one of the things we realized with the barometer and in front of the library lobby, a lot of adults are starting to realize, I mean, we have adults that read all the time. They don't think about registering for summer reading, or they don't think it's significant, but now people are signing up and getting involved like in their minutes, which is a lot of fun. 'Cause summer reading isn't just for kids, it's for adults. I mean, clearly when we want the kids to do it, it's so important for kids not to have that summer slide and keep reading. But kids do, they model after adults. So they see their parents, grandparents reading, they're going to want to read too. So it's super important that we model that. So I think it's safe to say that kids that have parents that are readers are going to be readers, right? So that was great. That is great. It's going really well. So staff's done a great job with summer reading. We've got some capital projects. We'll talk about the flex space here in a few minutes. The parking lot scheduled for this week, weather permitting. So that will be Thursday and Friday. We will, essentially what they're going to do on Thursday is they're going to kind of like, it's the front of the parking lot at this point. They're going to strip that out, and then on Friday morning they're going to come in. We should be able to open up Friday afternoon. We're still working out when we're going to get the striping people to come in. I know Kevin has been back and forth.
It looks like more like we'll be open Saturday morning for it.
Okay, great.
So it'll be closed down Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, so that's great. And the part of the lot will be open. We're going to have staff park over at the high school. We have to have our storytime event that we usually do outside at the park here because we think it's going to be like 100 degrees on Friday. That's what the forecast says. It's going to be super hot. But we think we can accommodate that. We're gonna still do it. It's going to be here. Families will set to park on this part of the parking lot. We'll make it work. So yeah. So that's the parking lot project, and landscaping. Also, we're getting going on that, as you can see. With putting in the irrigation and so
Yeah,
why are
we
they
heard about
laughing?
that. We
Oh,
heard about
I can't
that at
wait
the
till I don't have to do the
Celebration
word
Square,
landscaping.
remember?
We talked about Celebration Square. So should be in terms of completion dates. It's kind of a moving target, but end of the month, early next month, and then we'll have to wait for it to kind of flourish and grow. But those projects are coming along. Any questions about anything or anything in the report? I just want to make sure was it. I thought you wanted me to mention something else.
No.
Okay.
Okay, want to go on to the flex then?
Yeah, the flex space, award of contract renovation. I've got something to hand out. So in your packet, you've got a list of the bids that we received for the flex space renovation project. And hopefully everyone can see it. It's kind of small print. I apologize for that. But let me pass these out. So since
Thanks. I know I read it, and I was like, oh,
I did too, where'd it go?
26.
Thank
Because it was 10.
there you go.
Thank
So it was last Tuesday. We had the bid opening event, and Garofalo Construction Group, they came in with the lowest bid. So what happened after that is Product Design Architecture, they contacted them to discuss the bid. It's all in this memo. Talk about the scope of the project, make sure everything was there, and it's all there. So the lowest bid did come in a little bit higher than the initial approach we were going to take, where we got the quotes for the different parts of the job. But when you consider the performance and payment bonds that are included with this bid, it's just a little bit more expensive. I think we'll be okay in terms of our budget. So yeah, it was a successful process, and the Garofalo Construction Group is a company that's worked with Product Design Architecture on many projects, and they have a great reputation and track record. So in terms of the timeline, 8 weeks, this all depends on really the lighting, when we can get the lighting to come in. So after the board formally approves accepting this low bid with Garofalo Construction Group, then this week we're going to get the schedule, and we're going to find out about the timing of the lighting and everything. So my hope, we have scheduled on the calendar an event for middle of October to the grand opening of the Flex. So I'm hoping that's the very latest that it will open. So cool. Yeah. So questions, comments, concerns about the low bid accepting Garofalo Construction Group? Any
It was nice to see that they've worked with our design group before. That reassured me, I guess. When you
Right.
see the difference in prices or the bids on, it was quite a big difference.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Do we have to do anything to award
Yeah.
them the contract, or what is next?
We need a
Oh,
motion
yes,
to-
somewhat, yes, the board, I'm sorry, that's,
To
the
approve it.
motion's not in there, because we didn't know who it would be, so basically the motion would be to award the contract to Ruffalo Construction Group, essentially.
Okay. So I will move that the board award the contract for the renovation of the flex space in the amount of $76,700 to Ruffalo Construction Group LLC.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Oh, let's have a roll call.
Cheng,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
Farkapisi absent, ayes have it.
Okay. All right, next is building sites and maintenance ordinance on 25. Wait, is that right?
Mhm.
28, sorry. 28, page 28. You wanna explain?
Sure, so if you look at the ordinance itself, so what we're doing is we're able to levy a tax for the things that are listed in this ordinance. So the building sites and maintenance fund, so it's for purchase of sites and buildings, the construction and equipment of buildings, the rental of buildings required for library purposes, and the maintenance, repairs, and alterations of library buildings and equipment. If you were to look at our budget, or you were even to look at the tentative budget and appropriations ordinance, you can get an idea of what we use these funds for. So, jumping ahead to page 44, you see out of here maintenance supplies, utilities, building and inspection, building and HVAC maintenance, grounds maintenance, snow removal. That's the type of activities we can fund through the building sites and maintenance fund. So, what we're able to do, the board is able to do by law, by passing this ordinance, adopting this ordinance every year, you can levy a tax of 0.02% of the value of all taxable property. So since the EAV in the district is about 1.9 billion, you're able to levy approximately $388,000. This is something we do annually, that's basically the overview of the process. So this is really the first ordinance of many in the journey of the board adopting, formally adopting a budget, appropriating funds, and then doing the tax levy to fund library operations. You look at that, then you read it. It's confusing, but in essence, the board is essentially determining to levy this tax to fund building sites and maintenance activities of the library.
Okay.
So overall in total, how much will the residents be taxed?
Well, that's getting into the
That's a little further down.
yeah, it's a little further down the road.
But
This is just basically saying the board is going to do this. Yeah.
One time only?
No, this is
Or-
an
Annual, yeah.
We adopt this every year. This is nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
And this is just part of the revenue that we expect to help us run the library every year. So that said, I move that we adopt ordinance number 2019-2020-1, an ordinance determining to levy a tax of 0.02% of taxable property for certain purposes.
I'll second. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I second that.
Discussion? Let's have a roll call for this too.
Sutton,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Farkapisi absent, Kotsinis,
Aye.
Cheng,
Aye.
Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, next is the ordinance for non-resident library card program. That's page 29.
Yeah, this was a little bit confusing because by law, annually the board has to decide whether, quote, the library will participate in the state's non-resident fee program. However, it doesn't really apply to us because we're not the closest library for anyone living outside the library service area. So basically, it's a program that doesn't really apply to us. Like, there's no application, so we don't participate because really we can't participate. So it's very confusing.
If you look
like,
at the map
So
that's on
I
the
was just gonna
wall,
say, so who are we talking about?
what we're talking about here are people who live in an area that does not have an assigned library district or municipal library district.
Okay,
So somebody who lives in a place that doesn't have a library. And if you look
there's
at our
Gray's
our
Lake,
lovely
there's-
map,
Yeah, okay, everything close to us.
because our map is
Got it.
freaking huge and we're right in the center of it.
Freaking huge.
So, for example, let's take, up here, it's not, if you look at the boundaries of the district, someone's outside the district here, the
Zion.
closest library is Zion Bid, I
Zion,
believe.
okay.
So they would, Zion Bid. just-
I was trying to get geographically in my head
Yeah.
where, why.
The way the
why
law
that's
is
the
written,
case.
you have to get, if you don't live in a library district and are not paying taxes into a library,
Right,
you have to have the option to go to a library, but you have to make up the difference by paying a fee,
oh.
a non-resident fee to
I
get your
see.
library card at that library. But you are required to go to the closest geographic library to your physical address.
Oh,
And because we're right in the center of a very large area,
we aren't the closest, I've got it.
we're not the closest to
Okay.
anybody who
I just
doesn't have.
needed visually
library
to
area.
This is
get it.
annual too, we
Yeah,
have to do it every year,
yeah.
yeah.
I know that, I just was trying to
Yeah.
understand
It
it a little
takes-
better this year.
No, understood, yeah, it takes a few cycles to really wrap your head around it.
Yeah, right,
It's
right,
okay.
right.
Because it's like, you read through this, it's super confusing what you're voting on,
I was
so.
just like, why would we deny anybody?
Right,
Right.
right.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. And the visual as well.
Okay, I'll move that ordinance 2019-2020-2, non-resident library card program be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Let's have a vote.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Parker PC absent, Cheng,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Okay, next is tentative budget ordinance 43.
All right, so continuing with the financial ordinances, the cycle, right? So, for all intents and purposes, what this ordinance is doing is basically kind of giving, I mean, this is kind of my, I don't know, like perspective on it. You're giving the taxpayers kind of an early preview of what the budget and appropriations ordinance is going to be like. So this is tentative. This is subject to change, but generally speaking, this is what you will vote on and approve in September. So in September, you will see essentially the final budget and appropriation ordinance, and you will vote on that. Before you vote on that, though, there's a public hearing that happens before the board meeting, and so members of the public that have had a chance to look at this can come in and they can discuss how they what they think about it, how they feel about it, and what the board needs to do at that time is to listen and just listen to the feedback you receive, and then approve that B&A ordinance, and then after that is the tax levy ordinance, which you can only levy what you appropriate essentially. So if you and building site, let's look at that for a second, like page 44. So if we look at page 44 for the corporate fund, actually, but let's look at the end of this. It makes more sense if we look at the page 48. I'm sorry. Let's go to page 50. I'm sorry. Summary of the budget appropriation by fund. So, so if you look at what's budgeted and what's appropriated, what's the difference? Well, the budget is essentially what we plan to spend. So we've worked on the budget process, and we've said, okay, we want to budget this much for utilities, we want to budget this much for this and that, the parking lot, that kind of thing. So what's the difference? Well, the appropriation is like what you are allowed to spend by law. So and so we typically appropriate more than we budget because you never know. For example, snow removal, that's always a guessing game, right? If we would have to go back and spend money, the board would have to go back and change the appropriation, which the board can do by law. So does this appropriation mean this is exactly what's going to be levied and what taxpayers will pay? No, because as you might recall, there are laws that limit what we can levy through PTEL. So that's controlled. We'll get more into that down the road. But the one thing I wanted to talk about with this tentative B&A ordinance is when I was putting it together, I realized that we had put the money in the budget for the adult services area with the new furniture, the changes we're going to make. We put it in the building science and maintenance fund. I believe the reason we wanted to do that is when we are putting the budget together, we're very cognizant of what we put in different funds because we want to maintain certain fund levels. And what we should have done is put it in special reserve funds because really it's a special reserve item. More so than a building sites and maintenance item. So in the tentative B&A, I've moved it back. What I'm going to do next month is bring back the budget, and it doesn't change the bottom line of the budget, but have the board vote for that change. So, even if you look back at the building sites and maintenance ordinance you just passed, by definition, you could probably put those funds there, but it just makes more sense to take something like that as a special reserve fund. So. I know this is kind of, I'm trying to be as simple as possible with this because I know it's a little bit confusing, but so what questions might you have about the tentative B&A ordinance? Because I think, some of you are...
Sorry, we're at the tentative budget, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know this is especially as relatively new board members, that three of you are, even some seasoned board members, you look at this and you might
Makes my head
be a little
spin.
confused.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, when Andrea called me to say she couldn't be here tonight, I asked her about this, and she said she's good with this, just so
Okay.
you all.
That's-
Good, I was-
When I was reading through it, I kept
thought,
thinking, we'll see what Andrea says.
And this is not, it really, if you look at it, if you go through page by page, it's broken down into the different funds, like corporate fund, which is kind of like our general all-purposes fund, building site and maintenance, which we discussed, FICA, which is Social Security, Public Liability Fund, which funds things like security staff salaries, workman's comp insurance, Audit Fund, which we don't use, Working Cash Fund, which we don't tax for or anything. It's just money that we have on hand. Special Reserve Fund. This is essentially accumulated funds that we'll tap into to pay for bigger capital projects.
Okay.
Endowment Fund Expendable Trust. This is fundraising money. IMRF, which is the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. So you've already looked at this when you looked at and adopted the budget. So none of these numbers are all the same. What you voted on, was it last month?
It was last month.
Last
Yeah.
month, yeah. So nothing is different in terms of the budget. Other than that one shift of funds I made from building
Okay.
sites and maintenance to special reserve. So, but the bottom line is completely the same.
Okay, anything further to discuss? I move that ordinance 2019-2020-3 tentative budget and appropriations be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Further discussion?
Cheng,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
Alfar Capisi absent, ayes have it.
Okay, now we're on to
E.
E, yeah. So, you want to explain this one?
Yeah, we
do
talked
this.
about it a few minutes ago. The next step is to set the public hearing for the annual budget and appropriations ordinance, which you will, which is in September. So this will get posted. People will get a chance to review it, and historically speaking, people don't usually attend this hearing,
Right.
so it's usually the board sitting here, but. The public is more than welcome to attend and share their thoughts.
This is the
And
one where we come 15
Come
minutes
15 minutes
over.
early.
Public
Right.
is
Yeah,
invited
remember
to
this?
attend and share their opinions with us about the current budget.
Correct.
Right.
Mhm.
And this is all about open government, transparent government. So that's what this is. So we typically set the hearing at that September regular board meeting. So that's what this would be. This would accomplish.
Anyone want to make a motion on this, please?
I move that the public hearing for the annual budget and appropriations be set for Tuesday, September 17th, 2019 at 6:45 PM in the McCullough Room.
I'll second.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? I think we need a vote for this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think we.
Sutton,
Aye.
Katsinis,
Aye.
Farkapisi absent, Cheng,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
All right, next is policy 307, personnel policy, page 55.
Right.
Wait.
Sorry.
Did I miss something?
Did I skip something?
No?
Oh, sorry, no. 307 is before, yeah, just lost track.
Oh, okay. You want to give the scoop on it?
I think the memo in your packet probably
Mhm.
covered the main changes. I don't know if there are any questions.
I asked Ryan too if he would give us a clean copy, because this has got a lot
Right,
of
I
tracks.
saw
So
that,
if
yeah.
you want to look at it, there is a copy at your place.
Right.
Yeah, the goal was just to make life easier for staff, both the staff that, are trying to figure out what their sick leave benefits are, and also on the administrative side of things for our human resources associate. Because the way it was before, for example, someone working 21 hours would accrue 4.2 hours, and this policy also is having staff use minimum increments of half an hour, so that would help with this. And I think that's pretty generous. Some organizations, they only allow staff to use sick leave, like in 4-hour increments or even by the day. So we're pretty generous and flexible with that, because our policy does allow, if someone has a medical appointment, even for like a child or spouse, they can use sick leave. So, and that's by law actually too, as you can see in the policy.
Anything else? Okay, I move the policy 307, sick leave benefits, be approved as presented.
I will second it.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. I believe, is this correct, that this
I think so.
concludes our personnel policy work for this year?
Really? Woohoo!
Yay.
Yay, Joe.
Well, not to rain on the parade, but
Oh, of course.
well, no, because I think we're gonna have to look at so as I think the board is probably aware, cannabis legalization is occurring. So as of January 1st, 2020, cannabis will be legal in Illinois, and we would probably want to look at our policy to make sure that it's going to be not unlike alcohol. Obviously, if an employee wants to use cannabis on their time, they legally will be able to as of January 1st, but they can't come to work under the influence. So we'll have to look at that policy, I think.
Or anyone
Okay.
here at the library using it as well. I'm thinking of all of our minors that we keep getting
Well, it's-
reports about.
I believe it's set for 21 and
18.
over.
Oh, is it 21?
I thought it
Yeah,
was
it's
21.
yeah.
Oh, then,
yeah.
no worries.
So
Let's give it a breather till
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, is there we voted on that, right? Okay, we're done with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Board roster approval, page 57. This is obviously just because we lost a member, and it's just approving that. Anyone want to make a motion on this?
So,
I move that we approve the board roster as presented.
I'll second that. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, trustee vacancy, just info is that applications closed on Saturday, and we hope to interview at the August Committee of the Whole, and we'll discuss that further in closed session. Okay. Audit of regular minutes. What do we want to say about that? So this is once a year or twice a year do we do it?
One.
Once? Or
Every
twice?
year.
Once a
Only
year.
once though?
Yeah, once.
Okay.
It's for IPLA.
Yeah, and so, do we take action on this?
Wait, you just ask for volunteering, to volunteer.
Oh, I see. So who wants to audit the minutes? Can I do it, or am I not allowed to?
Yes.
I can
just
do
the
it with somebody.
secretary, no,
It's
but-
basically
I'll do it.
just to
It's the regular.
to check the
board.
regular
Correct.
meeting minutes, the archives, and make sure that everything that's there is supposed to be there. It takes about 15 minutes.
I'll do it with you after the meeting. if you want.
No,
You're
you
right.
cannot
you
do
can't,
that because
because they're your
it's
minutes.
your work.
Sorry. Never mind.
You're off the hook.
Okay, Jenny.
Not really,
Jennifer
because
and
I
I will
drive
do it.
you,
Okay.
so.
Perfect. Okay.
Right.
Semi-annual review, that's the thing I thought you were handing out.
Right, and I've got them right here.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's just pass these around. There's names on them again. Basically, George and I looked at, did I get you one? Yes.
It's down there, yeah, I passed it.
Take
there.
one.
I'm sorry. This is, yeah, I've got one for you too, but I mean, I've got one for the,
The original.
yes, I've
Okay.
got that.
So then
You have
I
one
can
for
get
the
the
cabinet?
The
original.
original is, I don't know, George decided a minute ago.
Send it in, hand it back.
Yeah, you did, you
Here.
did, you did. It's here with all the rest of these. I'll get it to you. But anyway, the bottom line is there were no minutes that we were going to be opening to the public, and just the recordings that we can destroy after 18 months. There's only 2, so it was pretty cut and dried.
But George signed the one that you're
Yes,
giving
and
to me.
I'll
Okay.
find it here in a
Okay,
second.
fine,
Yeah.
just checking.
Nope.
Because this one only has your signature.
Yeah, I know. It's here.
No worries.
So it's the Bonnie and George.
So do you need this back?
To present them.
Yeah, send them back to me if you
Uh-huh,
would.
yep.
And if not, I know it's here, George, because I just took it back from you a minute ago. I'll get it. Here we go. Oh, yeah, it's that. That signature I was picking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
someone want to make a motion on this? Okay, I'll move that the board approve the semi-annual review of closed minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. And we're skipping K, right? Or you're just? gonna-
Yeah, I just want to talk about why. I had, hoped to have a proposal for the board to vote on in terms of debt refinancing, but we have talked to different, financial institutions about this, and it's, I don't feel comfortable recommending anything about this time, because we're still trying to get information. Just to give you a little broader overview, without getting too far into the details, the different, financial advisors you work with have different fees, but once you get past that fee level, there's also different fees on the refunding bond issue, like bond counsel, like a rating agency. Then you have to decide, okay, do you want this to be a competitive sale or a negotiated sale? And there seems to be some, very differences of opinion on the way to do that. So you can kind of think of it as like kind of like with the Flex project. It's a little bit different with the Flex project, but whereas or think of it as like getting quotes from different vendors versus doing like the open market. And if you do that, there are different platforms you can use, and there are pros and cons to different platforms. So there's a lot of complexity involved with this process, and what Doug and I are doing is trying to get more information, some of our questions answered that we're not clear upon, and also using it as leverage to try to get the best fees for the library. So I want to move quickly because the climate is great for this in terms of rates, but I don't feel like we're under pressure that the board must take action. So that's kind of the overview of where we're at with that. Do you have any questions? Once again, as you might recall, we have those outstanding bonds, debt, that we're paying for, that you see in the budget for the 2011, 2012 renovation. So there's a chance to refinance that right now,
Mhm.
and which will save us some money and improve our cash flow. So we just want to make sure we go with the best opportunity for that.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
questions?
Okay. Any suggestions for agenda items for next time? No?
We want to put that on, obviously.
I did, I had
Yeah,
it on my list.
right.
Okay. I move that the board enter into executive session along with Executive Director Livergood to consider the selection of a person to fill the vacancy in the office of library trustee. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Okay. 7:35. It is 7:47 and we are back in session. Public forum, anyone want to speak in public forum?
I just wanted to say, I had the most fun this morning because I was walking around out in the public areas. It was mobbed here. It was so neat. And then I go into the vault and these kids have little green screens they made and they're all making little movies. And then we go over and there's this whole family's working together. This one grandpa's there with this little girl doing puzzles. Another family down in the center. Lots of people at the adult desk. It's just very busy here, and they're loving all this passive programming that they can just come in whenever they want, and there's all kinds of stuff to do. So it was just, and one of the youth services staff told me it was that last night was the busiest night she's ever. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
So it's
That's
going
awesome.
good. So just thought I'd share.
Well, my grandson came to visit this weekend purposely. Number one thing was he wanted to go back to the library.
Oh.
Because in Bhutan, they don't have libraries, and he was here last summer, and
Yes.
so we came for the event and then didn't leave for a good 2 hours.
Oh.
So it was awesome.
And I
That's great.
successfully got my son to register for historic time because I told him at the very beginning and he was like, yeah, I'll do it later. And he came in this weekend with me and he saw that really nice window with all the incentive and prices and he's like, ooh, I want something.
Oh.
He brought home some layaways, some books, and he's doing another assignment from his Chromebook in school, so he got really motivated because of that window. He saw
Cool.
that display window. So
It's the
that was
dangling
really cool.
carrot, right?
Yes.
It's Sandy's team that put that window
Yeah,
together,
so
so.
that's
thank
cool.
you. So, thank you. Hopefully we'll add some more.
In your face.
Okay, announcements, you want to say anything about the Gurney Days?
Yeah, you know, Gurney Days is coming up. It'll be before we know it. So that is, August 8th to 11th. So the hooray for Hollywood. The first night is that Thursday night. It's the honorary dinner and ceremony. It's Cheryl and Dave Ross, and they both done a lot in our community, and I think a lot of us know them. And so I think we've got funding for. Is at least one trustee to attend, so it's I think it's $35. So
I think it was 30.
30. Okay, so if you want to attend, please talk to me because the more trustees that can be there, the better. It's a really big event and it's a great networking event because really everyone in our community is there. It's like a who's who of the community, and it's fun. And it's a great ceremony, and even if you don't know Cheryl and Dave, the great thing about this dinner is you'll learn about them and all the great things they've done in the community. So it's really a great event, even if you don't know the honorees. So it should be fun. It's in Wadsworth, and
Yes.
Oh, it is? It's
Yeah.
the shanty?
Middling.
yeah.
Oh, at midnight.
So please let me know. The board, all the board members are invited. Let me know if you want to attend, and we can help you get registered for it. Then we're
We
involved.
could walk.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah,
It's a Thursday night, you said, yeah?
you can walk. Okay.
Sure. She and I could, yeah.
Then we're involved with Gurney Days. We always have a Saturday event. So I don't know a lot about this Pop and Sailor the Amazing Dog event, but it sounds
It's a
just the
children-
title sounds
children
well, yeah, it's a children's
program,
program, but I
yeah.
don't know
I think
like the
that'll be
details.
fun.
But then riveting contest at 2:30. We narrowly lost our championship last year, but Eddie and Mark are determined to win it back. So
Are they practicing? Yes.
They have, actually. And they are,
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Pictures of them, they went out.
and there's strategy involved. There's
Strategy.
They know strategy. Right, it's open media. I don't want to give any pointers to our competition, so we won't talk.
Oh, yeah, that's- oh, my
So-
goodness.
Top secret.
So if you've ever been to that competition, it's a lot of fun. It's very competitive, yeah. So I hope we can bring it home. A stiff competition though with show the township wanted to win again. Police and fire departments, those guys always
Yes.
are. Everyone wants to win. So
Yeah, very
Um,
competitive.
yeah, and then the parade. So here's the thing too. If you want to get involved with Gurney Days, we can always use volunteers for marching the parade. So if you'd like to bring your family out and march in the parade, it's a lot of fun. So consider that. And so if you want to do that, please let me know sooner rather than later. So good times. George did it last year.
Mhm.
I know Joe has done it before,
I have
Andrea has
done
done
it
it
before.
before.
Yeah, yeah. And it really is a lot of fun. Get to march in. It's usually really hot. But
I usually
we'll
get
water-
to see the young Livergood boys.
Yeah. So it's good times. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun because people love seeing the bookmobile and love the library. So it's really a rejuvenating experience. So and that's Gurney Days. Sorry, went on for too long about it, but
Anyone else
It's fun
have any
event.
other announcements? Anyone want to move to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained.
pretty good for not having committed.
I know,
Wow.
7.
I know.